Hi, I'm Sarah Beeney and this is Tech Fluff TV. For a few years, we've been investing slightly less than we did in the past. We still have an investment company, but development, about 2005, it kind of looked a bit dodgy to me. So we do, but only a tiny bit. But I think my world's a bit full of children at the moment. I'm glad you think that Tepelo looks really interesting. It's certainly gone down really well so far, and loads of people have put their houses on, and we've sold some, and we've got 7 more under offer in 3 weeks. Woo, it's so exciting. And yes, I'm a massive Hull City fan, and of course they're going to get through again, because they're the best team in the whole country. My dating site, My Single Friend, is doing really well, actually. And actually, it's tremendously rewarding because I meet people all the time who've met people on it, and I sort of think, regardless of what anyone thinks of the site, you may love it, you may hate it, but there's some really happy people who've been on it, and that's what counts. When careers opened up to women, which is probably about 30 years ago, women have really enjoyed having great careers, and therefore you are often older when you're a man or a woman when you're looking for someone to get married to particularly, and you've got a bit more time. The difficulty is that if you don't meet the right person at 18 when there's masses of single people around, it gets harder as you get older. So I think the problem came first and technology came to solve that problem. I really enjoy Twitter. I think it's really good fun, and it's nice to be able to speak to people on quite a direct level. You can actually be very reactionary with Twitter. It's a fantastically useful tool to give people what they want, which is ultimately, in this day and age, I think that any business that doesn't react to the customer and what the customer wants, it's kind of a bit too old school really to exist. Now, I think property prices rising steeply is a really bad thing for absolutely everyone. It's terrible for homeowners because their own property might go up, but the next house they go and try and buy is even more expensive. They just have to have a bigger mortgage. The only person who benefits from steeply rising housing prices is the Chancellor, and therefore they can collect more stamp duty. I really like all the contributors, and 99% of them are really good fun and really, really nice. So I actually get on really well with them, and so I haven't actually got ever that cross. To be honest, it would take quite a lot to get me that cross. Although, having said that, if it was my money, you might see a crosser face. I think the best iPhone app for the housing market would probably be Tepelo on the iPhone, which hopefully will come along at some point. I do think there is some responsibility that property editor perhaps needs to take, and I need to take, for the fact that because the show is edited to within an hour, people sit down with a bag of popcorn and they eat their popcorn, and an hour later they see a finished house, and it wasn't much effort because they just sat there and ate their popcorn, and someone's made 30 grand or 40 grand or whatever, and they think, oh, that was easy, I'll do that. But a bit of me thinks, does anyone actually not associate the fact that that was a year of someone's time and effort and huge amounts of investment and risk they put in, and the fact that it's cut to an hour doesn't mean it really took an hour. Sometimes on Property Ladder people do have little flights of design sort of fantasy which are a little bit questionable, but I sort of feel like slightly frustrated, because I think if it was your own house, then fair enough, go ahead, but if it's not your own house, I'm not sure why you'd kind of indulge those moments of slight madness on a house that someone else is going to live in and have to put up with. A lot of people think that Property Ladder and My Single Friend are really bizarre as a mix, but actually for all of my friends it's really, really obvious and straightforward that I do that because they are things I've always done all my life. I've always been involved in property, and I've always set up my friends with each other. So it's kind of a natural progression. It's just that you don't see that side of me on telly. You can get a mortgage. If you compare the mortgage situation and debt situation at the moment to the top of the market, yes, it's not good. But do we really all want to be supporting lending 120% of the value of a house to an 18-year-old who's never been able to save 1p in their life? I kind of think, there's an element of reality. I know it sounds a little bit heartless, and maybe there's lots of first-time buyers who think that's outrageous to say that. We should all be entitled to 100% mortgages. But I kind of think, Why? Being married and with kids it's the perfect person for my single friend. It's designed for people like me who've got single friends and they want to put them on a dating site. I'd do anything for a hug. Of course I'll redevelop your flat.